No, it's not weird. It's working today. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for joining us on the Saints Network podcast for your weekly dose, always at 8 p.m, of Southampton Football Club news and content, right? Always at 8 p.m. Man, we don't chop and change. Welcome back to the channel, you wonderful human beings. Thank you so much for joining us on what was the second derby day of the 25-26 season. And I think it's fair to say that all of us were probably dreading it. I had a friend of mine, Joe, who was in the Northern Fan Zone, who messaged me and said, "Are you going to come and watch at the Fan Zone with a picture of his pint?" I said, "No. If I'm going to be humiliated, I want to do it in the comfort of my own home. Thank you very much." So instead, Dad just came over to join us, and we sat there and watched the football. We're going to jump on. We're going to jump into the Pompey game at some point in the very near future, very, very quickly. However, before we do that, a few things. Firstly, point of admin, please make sure you smashed all those magical YouTube buttons for us. Hit the like button if you enjoy the content. Smash subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the bell notification icon if you want to be notified for future streams. And there's lots of people that are doing that lately. Thank you so much. And what you can also do is you can choose to support the channel financially if you want to by super chatting your points about the derby or whatever, or becoming a member or gifting members. Dreadful Mayhem became a member right before the show even started.
Legend, get yourself in the Discord if you're not already.
Ash was talking about if there's a super chat goal, he'll do the show intro, but I don't know what we set that at, so who knows? Maybe we just get a feel for it, a vibe for it.
I thought that was sticking between us.
Oh, okay. Well, no. Anything that's said off camera can also be said on camera.
They don't want me to do this.
Like that thing you did with the gerbil.
They don't want me to do the intro. No,
anyway, what we'll touch on before we jump into the Pompey game today is obviously the midweek game, because we have other jobs, so we can't do midweek streams as well, whereby we took on Sheffield United at home at St Mary's. And at that point, there was a point 10, 15 minutes into that game where Ash and I looked at each other and were utterly, completely convinced that the club now watches the show. Hi, Southampton Football Club.
Yep.
Hi. Because they changed to four at the back. They played basically the players we said they should play. When it came to the corner, Yalert was on the outside of the box and Azaz was on the inside of the box. If you watched last week's show, you'll know that's a point that you raised.
That's a point that I made, yeah.
There's a number of things that happened where like they must have watched the show. Hey. Anyway, it was a bit dull.
Evening football mine. It was a bit dull. That's all I can say. We scored a goal. We had another couple of chances that we should have scored. That was it.
It was a bit shit, wasn't it? To be fair, overall,
it was boring.
It wasn't the greatest in the world, but it was 3 points on the board.
It was the perfect example of a team completely devoid of confidence. There you go. That's why I shouldn't do the show intro. Completely devoid of confidence, not really battling for a win, because I thought Sheffield United were really poor.
They were really poor,
but, held on for a win, clean sheet, back four, crack on.
I was kind of concerned. Chris Wilder is a manager who knows the league very, very well. Obviously, this is his third spell at Sheffield United because they keep sacking him and they can't find better. And he knows what he's doing. And I was concerned that with the amount of teams that have sort of figured us out over the last few weeks, as we've called it, that he would absolutely have our number. And they didn't. I don't know how. They were very poor. Ash isn't wrong. But what we did do, the biggest thing for me personally, was a change in lineup on formation. And he changed his four at the back. And he said there was going to be some changes. He changed the four at the back, 5 in midfield. He brought Yalert at right back. He brought Wellington at left back, which I personally think was the right move because I don't rate Manning. He played Taylor, Howard, Bellis and Stevens. I wasn't sure on that, but I've got comments on them today. Then he played Casper Yander, Flynn Downs, Finn Azaz in the 10, Cienza on one wing, Fellows on the other. And he started Ross Stewart up front, which I also think was the right move. And I thought we looked different. I thought we had something different about us. We had another way of playing the ball out, which gave us options. And it was new and rusty. It didn't kind of work properly, but it was there, right? It was a thing we could do.
More on that later.
And then the game was just a bit dull. But Ross Stewart back in, a different formation. It's going to take some time to settle. What I hoped and prayed was that he brought this same formation into today's game.
Yes.
Because we want to be going aggressive at teams. With the players that we've got and the ability that we've got in our squad, we should be going at teams. We should be having a go at them. We should be filling that midfield with quality players and taking control of the game. And I was pleased to see that the lineup for today was the same formation.
So we're boxing off Sheffield United already, yeah?
It was dull.
Yeah,
we got 3 points. I'll tell you what, here's the thing. I thought we were going to lose the game.
Yeah.
So we got 3 points. Far exceeded my expectations and is at least the best thing you can do probably going into Derby weekend. In fact, the best thing you could have done was play a blinder and win 5-0. But we still got 3 points and we still won the game. Box that one off. Done.
Yep.
Good. Stadium half empty. Whatever. Okay. Skates today, like I said, formation announced. The formation's the same in terms of 4-5-1.
Yes.
However, the personnel, Ash.
Yes.
Did you want to talk about it? Because the messages I got from you were interesting.
I look, right, so obviously the goalkeeper was fine. I think that Wellington played himself into that position. I think he suits a back four better than he suits a back five because he's not very good at going forward, and defensively he's much better. Taylor Harbour-Bellis, I thought personally had one of his best games in the Saints shirt today. Jack Stevens, Cameron just made the point, we're discussing it in the Discord again. Guys, if you're not in the Discord, get in the Discord. It's busy. Link below. So Stevens was at times too busy trying to wrestle players, but was quite solid. And he brought James Brea back in at right back, which I thought was brave. Now, James Brea had a superb game. I thought he was brilliant.
Agree.
I'm not a fan of changing defences when you've kept a clean sheet, but, you know.
Agree.
Is what it is. Josh, I thought he had a brilliant game.
Yeah, no, I thought he was good. When I looked at it, I was like, I'm a fan of Elias Ulert. I think he's a very good little right back. I think he offers you something better in attack than anything else we have. That being said, Brea, for physicality, I get it.
I got it, and it worked. He then went Flynn Downs, Caspiander, fine. Cienza, Azaz. I think we kind of all knew that Ross Stewart wasn't going to start and that he was going to play Armstrong. Again, more on that in a minute. And then he brought Madski in for Fellows, and I said a lot of swear words in front of my son. I just didn't get it.
I don't mind Madski coming in. I don't mind that at all.
I do.
I don't mind him coming in. I think he's got a lot to give. I think he could be a very exciting player. However, I don't like taking Fellows off for him. I think that's a terrible move always in a game like this. Fellows, I think, is an absolute gem of a player. And I think that, in my opinion, Azaz had a great spell when Tonda came back in, and he's just gone missing again in the last few games.
I've got an opinion on Azaz. I'll get there in a minute.
Middlesbrough fans told us this would happen with him. They warned us that this is what he did and how he behaved, and he's just kind of gone missing. He hasn't really done anything. Now, granted, today he assisted the goal. He probably should have had another assist if Armour was less shit. But I don't think he was dreadful, but he wasn't good overall. So I think that. And he's not been good for a few games. So I know he got the assist. And I know this might be then me shooting myself in the foot when I say this, because perhaps Tonda got it right because he got the assist. And actually, the assist was beautiful. But based on his recent performances, if you're going to go, who would you play, Azaz or Fellows? You can only play one. Which one are you picking?
Obviously, you pick Fellows, but, and this is the point, and I was trying to make this, I didn't make this point in the Discord very well, but I was also trying to talk to other people as well. Bringing Madski in for that type of game, in hindsight, obviously, he wouldn't have done it. I don't think if he goes back and picks that team again, he doesn't pick Madski.
You don't reckon?
I don't think so. Because I think that when you look at it from a degree, and I agree with what you say in terms of Azaz, but Azaz was trying to almost cover both sides. Now, Madski, when he got on the ball, looked okay, but he lost the ball a lot. He was nowhere near it. And what got me, and I know we're still going through the lineup, what got me with it is that since Tom Fellows has been brought into the club, he has been effectively dragged from pillar to flipping post, played at right back, taken off, dropped, overplayed at right back. And then it gets to the biggest game of the season and Tonda drops him. And I get at the end of it, Tonda turned around and said, we wanted an impact off the bench. Yeah, that worked. Genius. So you've taken what is effectively at the moment, and I'm going to say this because I know Leo's been hot and cold, but what is effectively our most, or necessarily our second most creative player, and you've dropped him to the bench in the most important game of the season. When we played them here in the reverse fixture, he looked all right despite the fact he was playing wherever.
I think it was a terrible move. I don't mind Madski. I don't mind him being brought in for games. I don't think you bring him in for a derby game. And what we have found is his physicality. We'll talk about physicality when we talk about the game. And as you say, Armstrong in up front. Now, I'm not 100% against that. Armour runs and he battles and he puts a foot in and he gives it his best, and it's a derby game. And Ross Stewart getting roughed up by Skates is probably going to get injured again. So I kind of get that one. I'm not too against that one. But Alfie House put a tweet out when the announcement was there for the lineup, and he said, if you knew you could only start Ross for one of those two games, I feel like this is the one you start him in. And I probably agree with that. To be honest. I personally think his lineup, his formation, good. I personally think his personnel choices, I think he got it wrong today.
Oh, I think he got it wrong. And if look, you would assume that Stewart didn't start because he potentially didn't have the legs to start, but 100%, regardless of what anyway does, he needs to play. You don't start that game with no Tom Fellows.
I agree. I think that's the biggest mistake.
Madski, when he got on the ball, he looked okay, and he had a few neat passes, but he's not a ball carrier like Fellows is.
I think Galactic Gaz, I think his name is, at the start of the stream was like, it's a sackable offence not playing Fellows.
Agreed.
So the skates lineup was the skates lineup.
Who cares?
I was a bit annoyed, by the way. If you're watching Sky Sports, I was a bit annoyed that it was on Sky Sports Plus.
A bit annoyed?
Yeah.
I was fuming.
Yeah.
Sorry, but they made the main game of the afternoon was London City Lionesses versus Manchester Women. Nothing against women's football. I know you've got opinions, but nothing against women's football. And the attendance was 3,415, but we're not going to show the South Coast Derby, the first one at Fratton Park since 2011 in the league. And we're going to put that as the last game on Sky Sports Plus. You had all the women's games, had like 3,000 people, 2,000 people, that, let's be honest, no one really cares about. And they put that one at the end.
Maybe
what are they playing at?
Agenda pushing in it. Hey. Anyway, we started very nervous. I said that to Dad. We started very nervous the game, and I wasn't comfortable. And then there was a couple of moments where we should have, honestly, had the ball in the back of the net.
Yes.
There was one particular moment where one of his good moments in the game, Finn Azaz through balls, Adam Armstrong, who takes one touch and splits the defence. It's a beautiful ball through, great first touch. And he is, if you're a striker in that situation, I think you've got to be doing more. I think that was a poor shot from Armstrong.
Just very quickly, I'm just going to jump on Gartsy's point. The other thing that annoyed me with Sky is they dimmed the crowd volume. You knew the commentators weren't there, and they had no fucking clue what they were talking about, and there was no build-up. Anyway, he's got to do more. When you watch the shot, so it's a great ball, free ball from Finn Azaz, and when you see Armour get it, I think it potentially is maybe... He gives him maybe a little bit too much time to think about it. He's not scored in 10 games. I think it's 10 games. Chat, correct me if I'm wrong. I think he's not scored in 10 games.
But we've always said, you say this, but we've always said as well, we've always said this, you've said this specifically on the show, Armstrong is a player who needs 3 or 4 chances to score 1 goal.
Yeah.
Which means he's not a good striker, right? And that I think, honestly, he should be burying that. They had commentators, chat, they just weren't in the stadium, right? He should be burying that. He absolutely should be burying that. Later on, a ball gets whipped in across the box. I think it was from James Bree.
Yes, 5 minutes later, isn't it?
So it's a beautiful cross in. Armour, this one is a significantly more difficult shot, does a better job. And I'll give the skatekeeper credit where credit's due, makes a great save.
Look, John Mousinho has made the point that he thinks that Smith is one of the best keepers in the league, and I potentially would be inclined to agree. And at some point today, if there are any skates that end up watching this, I am going to give them a bit of credit. So stay tuned for that, because it's going to be a bit sacrilegious.
I'm not going to do that.
That save, I don't blame Armour for that chance, and I think it's a very good save. The first one, though, he takes one touch, he takes a second touch, he looks up, he sees where the keeper is, he then takes another touch and goes for it, and he just got even just a little bit of elevation.
Bit high across the goal mouth. That's what you should have done there.
That miss will haunt us for a while, because I think you're right. We started nervously, and I've got some opinions, as I say, when we get towards the sort of like the main review of the game later on.
We're doing it now. That's what
no,
we're doing now.
The conclusion.
Right. Okay.
You know, when you do at school, you got to do a project. You got to have a start, a middle,
start,
and an
end.
Yeah, got to do the conclusion at the end of it.
You write your own story in English.
Yeah. That's F done.
Yeah, that's the story.
Yeah. But you've got it's poor. And if there was a game today that proved to anyone, the board, Katerina Lever, because she was there today, that we need another bloody striker, today is it.
Yeah. So that was that, right? That was the first half. It was relatively uneventful. I don't think we were great, but we did all right.
It was a derby game. It was scrappy, and I think that.
And this is the thing, right? And this is the theme throughout the game. It was more prevalent, I think, in the second half for the most part. Second half kicks off. We didn't make a change. That's fine. I guess we didn't need to make a change, to be fair. I don't think we were in control of the game, for that matter. I don't think at any point either team was really in control of the game. Like Ash's typical derby game, right? It basically becomes a cup game, essentially. You can throw league form out the window. And it started again quite promisingly, and then there's a ball that was just hoofed out of defence, right? And then Finn, whose first touch is normally shocking, brings it straight under control.
Ronaldinho style.
Right? And then he turns and through balls Leo, who Dad was like, he's offside. If you watch the replay, he wasn't offside.
He's very onside,
He's very onside. He takes his beautiful curling run in, bears down on goal, and I'm going to hold my hands up and say, I was thinking, he'll fucking fuck this. The keeper will
I was
save it.
shouting, square it.
Yeah, wow.
Square it.
Because Armour was in the box.
Yeah,
right?
Square it.
And he has a go and he smashes it in, and what a finish. 1-0 up, crowd goes wild.
We've got a skate in the chat. It's poor from Scummers that you spent 10 times more than us, the team, and we spent under 4 mil and claim you're better. I don't know what your name is. Firstly, we are better. We're 7 points above you in the league. And hello, you don't have to be a knob. We're quite happy to have a decent chat about football. But
You
if
got
you're gonna be a knob,
dominated.
you can disappear.
If you got dominated, then you're clearly still on the crack that you found in Fratton.
We got dominated, but we had the better chances. But if you want to have a bit of a decent football chat, you're more than welcome to stick around.
I'm here for the banter.
If not, disappear. Anyway,
I'm here for the banter. Where's Jimmy Cheese? He should be our moderator in there right now.
he's probably a TSP, isn't he?
1 point above the relegation zone. Well done, mate. Anyway, second half, like I said, Leo gets the goal.
Yes.
And I was like, okay, let's get a grip of this now.
Can we talk about that goal though a little bit?
We just did.
No, but the celebration. Absolute shithouse. So he put something on Instagram and said that he got spat at a couple of times, balls being lobbed at him. And do you know what? We know that when you go down to Fratton Park, it is a cauldron of atmosphere. We can claim we're better than you because we're above you in the league. It's as simple as that, mate. It's facts.
When we have more wins than you have,
It's facts.
that makes us better than you.
It's the same as we can say that, I don't know, Hull are better than us at the moment because they're above us in the league. It's
how that
generally
works.
how it works.
Yeah.
The team that wins the Premier League at the end of the season can't claim, the team that finished second can't claim they're better than the team that finished first because the team that
Even
finished
if they
first
beat them twice.
finished first.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it works. Anyway, so obviously Leo runs the length of the pitch to celebrate, gives it a big one, and he probably pulled his groin doing that, to be fair, because obviously he came off with a groin injury towards the end. It was a good finish, and Leo's done. Leo is. We said at the end of last week that we needed people to step up and be counted, and Leo is definitely the one this last week, having got both the goals, who has stepped up and been counted 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. And he did. And Dad and I were saying we need to get him in the game. I think you said it to me as well. We need to get him in the game.
First half, he couldn't get into the game at all, and
I think he was being man marked.
he got the ball. Well, he was to a degree, but we just didn't. Like I said, because everything was going down the right hand side where Maskey was, and he wasn't strong enough to hold the ball up and get it done, and then it would come back, and it kind of, and then we played the stupid tactic where we played the exact same way that we played on Wednesday, but with a midget up front.
Yeah.
And so you're punting balls to Madsky, Sienda and Armstrong, and obviously everything kept on getting back. And the problem is on the course of the whole game, and we'll get on to the rest of it in a minute, but on the course of the whole game, I felt that we were okay, but we never had control of the game. And I always felt, despite the fact that we had the better chances, because apart from the goal that the goal that they scored, Pompey didn't have any direct actual chances. But I always felt like they were the ones that were going to get the next goal. I always felt they were going to score next. I never felt like we had control of the game.
Yeah. Did you log me in on this iPad?
I haven't touched it, mate.
So the answer is no. Okay.
Probably not.
I was wondering where my moderation abilities and powers have gone because I'm about to exercise them.
Oh, okay. Thought you would. People just,
Yeah. The thing is, I was quite comfortable sat here, and then what happened was I just got the overwhelming smell of utter bullshit. So I need to deal with that right now.
But what the point that I'm, like I said, the point that I'm trying to make to a degree is I thought that Pompey had a game plan and they did it well, but I just didn't understand. We were very weak in midfield, and Flynn Downs and Casper Yander were very weak, and we couldn't get our foot on the ball. And when we did, there were pockets that when we did, and we kind of played okay, but I always felt that we didn't have the control that I felt personally that Pompey had more control in the game than we did.
Maybe. I thought they were shit.
Look, I don't think either team were brilliant. I think we created better. I also thought, though, that every time they went forward, they looked like they were potentially a bit more threatening.
I absolutely could believe that there'll be a full-blown relegation fight right to the end of the season. No, I absolutely believe they will be there.
Well, they are struggling. They've got a couple of games at home, and I think that John Mousinho came out at the end and said, look, we're disappointed not to win that. And I honestly thought to myself, I sat there with George watching the game when they scored, and I was like, we're in trouble here. Because they
so I said the same thing. Their tails are up at that point, and I don't know. So for me personally, I don't think it's a testament to their ability to score goals. I think it's I think it's proof of our mental fragility whenever we concede a goal. So we were looking okay. I don't think we were looking too bad. There's a couple of things. The second we concede, we just seem to fall to shit. Now, I will go as far as to say, I'm getting... this is just me. I don't know if it's just something I'm noticing. I don't know if I'm being unfair or not, but what I'm seeing also is, when are we going to come out of a 50-50 with the fucking ball?
Oh, tell me about it. Jesus Christ. Every game.
Every single game where there's a 50-50, we never come out with the ball, ever. And there's a lot during each game. Now, there was a couple of moments today that I was quite proud to see people putting some fucking... And Dad sent me this message after he got home, and I agree with him, actually. I do want to say, genuinely, fair play to the ref.
Oh, I thought he was superb.
He didn't make it about him.
Yeah, I thought he was superb.
He barely booked. He let a lot of shit go. He blew a fair few fouls, but didn't... He could have given out a lot of cards. He could have given out a lot of cards, and I want to say fair play to that referee for letting it run and letting it be a derby game. There's a couple of challenges that went flying in, where Flynn Downs comes flying in and a scrap starts, and he's just laughing.
But there was another one afterwards. He's just giggling the entire way through. And Flynn Downs has been a bit of a rage bait for me for the last few months because he's just been lazy and constantly backwards. But even at one point, the commentator said Flynn Downs running forward with the ball, and George was like, didn't know he could do that.
Yeah,
and that's my 10-year-old.
Yeah,
he. The first derby that we had back at St Mary's was boring and it was crap. And it was at an awkward time. Two teams were trying to settle, and obviously they celebrated a 0-0 draw like they'd won the league. This one was a proper... It gave me proper derby game vibes. What ruined it for us was we started the wrong personnel, and that personnel, when it eventually came on, couldn't do what they needed to do.
Yeah.
Because I think that in Cienzo, I'm not Azaz's biggest fan. I get what you're saying. He obviously had a moment, and he'll probably get another moment before the end of the season. But... Cienza, Azaz, and Fellows need to get used to, and they are fairly used to with each other, despite whoever's up front. And you've changed it to them.
Yeah, I think he got it wrong, and I know he wants an impact sub. I get that he wants an impact sub. It didn't really work. That's the problem. And Ross Stewart up front. We had a bit of bite. We had a bit of battle. We started making changes, and then lo and behold, guess what? We concede from a fucking set piece again. And I watched that go in, and I couldn't believe it. Now, I know someone says, I think James is otherwise missing a blatant handball for their goal. So we concede corners after corner after corner. We've actually been okay defending corners. The one time my old man sat next to me said, we can't defend corners, was the one that went in the net. So strictly it's his fault. Right?
And also, as well as people, look, I get it. Yes, it's gone off his arm whilst it's on the line. It was
right. So the ball swings in, yeah. Right? Left foot corner comes swinging in. Taylor kind of makes a bit of a hash trying to get it out. It isn't really. I don't know how the fuck it went where it went after he's got it on his bonds. And then it's just a bundle. And I think the keeper should be stronger, if I'm honest. And I actually think he's been quite good since he's been old Peretz. But I think he should be stronger there. I think he should. Saying that, I will say his distribution against Sheffield United, was utterly dreadful.
But it's commanding today and coming out and punching it.
Yeah, it was better. But I think that was one of those moments where he should have come out and got that ball.
Yeah.
And then, what's his name, Adams, for the skates, he comes bundling in, and he does it on his head first, and as he jumps up and it's on his head, it comes down off his hand and goes in. If his hand's not there, I think it still goes in.
It does go in, and also, whilst I'm a Saints fan through and through, obviously, otherwise I wouldn't do this. Be really weird. I don't see in a month of Sundays how any referee is going to see that ever.
No,
ever.
I don't think. I use it on the thumbnail on purpose because it will wind people up. My honest opinion is I don't think we can give that handball. I don't think we can. I think his hand was in a natural position. I don't he was jumping. There was people around. I don't think he's gone. In you go. To start with. Secondly, I think if you remove his hand out of the way and it still goes in the net. Well, I don't think it makes any difference.
He heads it on the line, so even if he doesn't head it, it's still going in.
This is my point, So, and they get an equaliser, and I was sat there and I was like, the one thing I will say is at that point I was utterly sure we were going to lose the game.
Well, that's because after we'd scored in the second half, we did absolutely nothing going forward.
Yeah,
we did nothing. Fellows got a few opportunities. Our set pieces were dreadful. We stopped Shea Charles taking corners. Get him in the box for Jesus Christ.
Well, yeah, but he's also got the best delivery when Sienza's not on the pitch.
But he's also one of the best ones getting his... Any fucking can take a corner. Get
Yeah,
one of the short asses
if he
take
takes
it.
a corner and loops it high enough, he's got time to run in the box and edit.
Well, that's also true. But no, look... At that point, when they equalised, I was the same as you. I thought we were potentially going to lose this. And then obviously they had a couple of chances where they hit Rose Ed and... wide, and they huffed and puffed, but...
I honestly believe if it wasn't for their goalkeeper, we win the game.
Look... Okay, let me put a question to you. Let's flip it. Do you think a draw was a fair result?
On the balance of play?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think we had the better chances, but I think Pompey played better than we did, but I think we had the better chances. So I think a draw was a fair result on the balance of play.
Towards the end of the game, they also had a lot more control. You're right there. You're struggling tonight.
Yeah, I am struggling tonight.
Is it all that cum?
Jesus Christ! My mother watches this show.
I think that towards the end their tails were up as well. I think they finished stronger than we did. Ultimately.
They did, but again, they didn't really create anything. There was a few opportunities where we looked a bit nervy. The one thing I will say is, regardless of Tonda's substitutions, is it was nice to see a little bit of fight.
Exactly,
and a bit of.
But I still want to start seeing us coming out of 50-50s with the ball, because it almost looks like we're going in half-hearted.
Do you know what would help to start off with? Right, if the players could dress themselves properly.
Well, yeah.
Because if anyone who didn't notice, Ross Stewart was playing with his shorts on back to front.
Yeah, well...
I noticed that straight away. What's going on?
Yeah, there was a bit of fight at least. It was a bit. I feel like we're not putting enough effort into these challenges. Like I said about the 50-50s, right? I'm just fed up of seeing ball goes in, two players go in, and sometimes, there's a couple of times Wellington, a couple of other players got bounced off the ball. Literally bounced off the ball. I'm like, you've got to be stronger in those situations. You have to be stronger.
He made his subs, and when Shea Charles came on, we had a little bit more fight in midfield, but then he moved Yanda to almost play number 10 position, and he'd never played that before, and that was wrong. I would honestly, I know people have mentioned it, I'd like to see maybe Armour and Stewart up there, and maybe Armour playing just a little bit behind Stewart.
I'd rather see Armour at a different club.
Well, we'll get onto that, because there are some rumours around that.
Tonda comes out in the press conference. Now, I think that, I'm going to hold my hands up here. I honestly expected us to get beat at Fratton Park today.
Yeah,
I genuinely, I don't like saying it, I genuinely thought, we were going to get beat at Fratton Park. If you'd have said to me on Monday, Sheffield United on Wednesday, Skates on Sunday, you're going to finish the week with 4 points, I'd have taken it every day of the week.
I'd have laughed
in any
at it.
combination, I'd have taken it every day of the week, right? 4 points from those two games. I was sat here on the podcast last Sunday, and I was like, I think we'll lose both, and I think he'll get sacked. The downside to us getting 4 points is he's not been sacked. But that was what I thought was going to happen. So I think as Saints fans, if we look at the week in general, we would suggest that 4 points from the 6 available, based on how we've been playing and how we've played in those games, actually, is probably better than we expected and anticipated. And most of us would have taken that, if I'm honest. Right?
Yes.
Tonda did come out in the press conference afterwards. He says he's infuriated after conceding from a set piece.
Yes.
I mean, we've done it a lot, mate, so I don't really know what's... Like, I will go as far as to say, I think, personally speaking, Jack Stevens and Taylor Howard-Bellis as a combination, centre-back combination, I think they had a very good game today, but they have got to be stronger in the air. I honestly think they had a good game. I thought Taylor had a very good game today.
I thought Taylor was superb.
I thought he had a very... There was at one point where Jack puts a challenge in the box when the ball drops, and if he doesn't put that challenge in, they score a goal.
Yep.
I genuinely think that, and maybe this is what happens. Now you've actually, we said it before. You remember so many centre back pairings over the years. The two centre backs have played together. I mean, I think the biggest ones when we were younger was fucking Klaus and
Michael Svensson.
And Michael Svensson, right?
Yeah.
Klaus and Killer. You remember pairings. You don't remember a triple centre-back team. You remember pairings. Mm-hmm. And I think that today we started to maybe see that pairing form, which probably means that next week he'll drop Stevens and play Kwashi because he's Tonda the Tinkerman all the time at the moment. I just leave it fucking alone. You won a game. I'll still say this. I'll say this forever. You won a game on Wednesday. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. If a player can't play 90 minutes on fucking Wednesday night and then play 90 minutes on Sunday lunchtime, right, they don't deserve the money we're paying them.
Or an hour.
Even an hour. If they can't do 90 minutes twice, they don't deserve the money we're paying them.
That's what frustrated me about the game today. Like I said, is that they said on the commentary as well, and I had that on, and I was also listening to Radio Solent because I can listen to both. Multitasking, brilliant. Pompey would have been surprised at first that we played Madsky instead of Fellows, and they would have been surprised that we're punting it long all the time. They were surprised that we were punting it long, but they were getting it back.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Didn't take much.
It says Leo felt his groin, hopes he should be okay. I'm sure it didn't look bad. Matsky made for the big games, you've put here as a quote. After big games in Turkey and Japan, felt we deserved more. I don't agree with that last statement. I'd like to say we did. I don't agree with that last statement. I don't think we deserved more. I think a point was a fair result, and I don't like saying that about the skates, I'll be honest with you. But someone give me 20k, I'll run around a week. Exactly, Alan. I'll run for 90 minutes in a week for 10 grand a week, I'll be honest. You know,
I think he will be regretting not putting Fellows in from the start. And I think they said on commentary today that they pretty much announced that Southampton interviewed Michael Carrick and decided not to go for him, which is looking like a great decision at the moment with 2 wins against City and Arsenal in charge of United. But Leo going off, for example, I said it in our Discord that apart from scoring a goal, he ain't done anything. He hadn't done anything, Leo. He'd got the ball, he'd run a few times, but he kind of seemed a bit off it.
They did man mark him though, and I think that although he's not doing anything, he's pulling another player out of the game at that point.
They did man mark him, and just it wasn't the right game because we weren't trying to get the ball down and play. And Tonda said he watched the first derby and he wanted us to have more control. But I would expect them to try and have a bit more control, not just punt it long every 5 minutes.
And here's the other thing: if you're setting up for a 4-5-1, right? Your strength at that point is in midfield because that's where your 5 is. Okay. If you then punt it long from back to front, you're then bypassing the thing that you've just put an extra man into. Why? What's the point?
Well, look, I'm not necessarily. Everyone knows that one of Pompey's strengths is they like to press, and they did press it a few times at Wells today. And
they like to press.
The pitch was absolutely the piss. Oh God, you just made me go. The pitch was absolutely soaked through, so the ball wasn't moving as fast, which is probably why the Southampton were playing it long quite often, which is fine. To a degree,
the pitch didn't look great, did it?
It did not look great, but
it looked like the pitch of someone's back garden in a shed in Portsmouth, because that's what it is.
Yeah, you know.
I hope. So before we jump into the members' man of the match, if you went today, I hope you all behaved yourselves mostly, for the most part. I did notice the coaches were getting ready to leave at like 7:30 in the morning or something, and
they had to be there at 7:30.
They were in the ground 2.5 hours before kickoff. Hopefully, we all conducted ourselves in a manner befitting of a professional football club. Is what I shall say.
There's been no reports of any.
Good.
There was no. I'm assuming everyone's seen it. The Pompey fan after we scored that ran onto the pitch, the fat lad.
Yeah.
That tried to face up and got stopped by the invisible wall, as everyone does.
Yeah. Billy Big Bollocks until he gets near them.
Yeah, and then suddenly he shits himself.
Yeah, and then he fills his pants and can't run anymore. The pitch didn't look great. The stadium's a fucking shithole. We've been there. It's fucking horrible. If you ever get the chance to go, don't. It's disgusting. It smells. And that twat with a wig and tattoos is there as well. Ugh. They showed him on telly a few times. And I know people have also complained about the fact that this guy keep turning the crowd down, but I think that's because of the language. I'll be honest. So that might be why, but I'm not sure. Anyway, as always, the members get to vote on a man of the match.
Well, I didn't actually do a members poll today. I changed it. Well, I haven't been doing it recently because we've been so shit. But I decided to ask for people's opinion, and I wanted them to give why. And the overrounding winner was James Bree.
Oh, really?
Well, I say overrounding winner. Taylor Harvard-Bellis was a close second.
That's where I would have gone. Taylor would have been the person who I gave man of the match.
I think it was mainly, and I potentially would have gone towards James Bree, mainly because it's his first game back in, and he just looked. If he doesn't start next Saturday, I think he needs to start. I think he looked absolutely brilliant. And I think that
Martin, I love you.
The game as a whole, if I watch the game as a neutral, and my wife sat there watching, she don't give two shits about football, but she mentioned about how it got quite scrappy, and I think that the masses of an audience on TV today, because when we went all those years ago, 15 years ago, it was on terrestrial TV, they've missed out on a proper good derby scrap. And towards the end of it, when they're getting into it, people have missed out on that because Sky wanted to put women's football on instead.
Mark would disgusting. Mark would have given it to Leo just for the goal celebration, which I understand.
Oh, hero, legendary status.
Westwood versus P. Dawson. Can we stop encouraging either of those people, please? I feel like both of them should be in an institute. Okay, so that's the game. I like I said to you already, right, chat? I think Ash probably strongly agrees with this. Tell me if you don't. But I think 4 points at the start of the week, I'd have taken it. So to get to where we are now with 4 points, I think is a bonus. We're still only 15th in the league. I'm still not sold on Tonda right now. I was after the first 7 games. I was like, give the man a job. I think he deserves it because he looked like he just unlocked a masterpiece. At the moment, I'm not sold. I assume you'd have taken the 4 points at the beginning of the week if I'd have offered it to you in any combination.
I would have done. I can see his name popping up in the chat, but I watch all of Football Martin's pre-match content. So, guys, if you don't go and check it out, he does.
Look, we've shouted about enough times, all right?
Yeah,
you do it every week.
I'm just going to keep shouting him out because I like his videos. I like his videos, so I'm going to keep shouting him out. And he spoke to a guy who's a Pompey fan, and they sort of said how open they were for the set pieces and stuff. And you just, like I said to you today when I got here, I woke up this morning, I was dreading it, absolutely dreading it, because obviously I know that I've said it enough times. I got to go to work in Portsmouth tomorrow morning,
yeah, and
I didn't want to walk into work having lost. So
no, at least, yeah.
A point is better than nothing, but it's just one of those scenarios where we need to. 4 points I would have taken 100%. My concern is now that we're going to move on to the rest of it, and we're just going to flounder out. I saw Mark say earlier, what does it mean for the rest of the season now?
Well, my issue with the 4 points is that we have just and papered over cracks.
Yes,
that's what we've done.
Yeah.
Right. And that's my worry. And when you ask about I mean, you can stick questions on Super Chat if you want to. You can also become members if you want to.
You can also hit the like button. It's free.
My worry about that is if you're papering over those cracks. I think now he's probably in for the rest of the season as our gaffer, and I don't think we can sack him anyway. I agreed at the start at this show last week. I agreed that if he loses to Sheffield United in the Skates, he has to go. But we don't want to sack him because we're still paying Will Still to fuck about in America and put pictures on Instagram.
He's been working for Sky.
So I don't like him. I think we give him till the end of the season and we probably part ways. Because I think at the end of this season, there is going to be, in English football, a monumentally huge manager merry-go-round.
Yes, agreed.
I think it's going to chop and change all over the place at the end of the season. So what does it mean for the rest of the season? We're probably not making playoffs. We're probably not making relegation. We have to be careful of the latter because it is still a risk. Ultimately.
My concern is, right, and
I think the season just fizzles out for us now.
Because of the lack of plan B and because of the lack of the striker that's coming, and we've now got a week or 8 days until the end of the transfer window. Tonda isn't taking us in the direction that we thought he was going to take us, and there's a potential chance of. Well, we're going to go to Stoke next week, and we're obviously on Sky for the 12:30 kickoff, right? We could go to that game, and we can either do what we normally do and roll out the same shit that it's been for the last couple of months, or we could go there having had 4 points from a week with a bit of bite in our belly and go, right, let's go. Because Stoke's not an easy place to go to. Nowhere's an easy place to go to. But, we've got Stoke and then we've got Watford, and 2 games there that we've already, hard games.
On top of which, the transfer window, you said it yourself, transfer window is live, right? So now's the time to bring in some impact players. So far we've done nothing apart from the goalkeeper.
Yep.
However, Ryan Fraser's finally off the wage bill. Ryan Fraser fucked off to some club in upside down land.
He scored a 91st minute winner, and
I saw that as well.
I believe what he said when he did an interview at the end of it was, "I think I'm the only Scotsman that tans." So he's not ginger, is he? So he's not against it.
Football Martin says a proper manager gets today over the line, send him back to 21st to the under 21s and get a proper manager. Ralph linked with the Foxes. I agree completely.
Yeah, 100%.
Fraser's gone, and he was either our biggest or second biggest wage bill. Either him or Aribo was biggest or second biggest. I can't remember which way around it is, but they were 2 highest paid players, both on 60, 70 odd grand a week. So that going and that wage bill being freed up is positive. Talking about wage bills being freed up, poor old Gavin Bazunu got an injury, ACL, anterior cruciate ligament tear.
He's out for 6 weeks.
Out for 6 weeks, and wherever he is at the moment, he's at Stoke, have agreed to keep him there for his treatment. Bonus, we haven't got to pay his wages. Although I don't wish anyone an injury in football, to be clear, right? Unless they wear a Pompey shirt. There is links for Armour to fuck off, and I've seen 12 million or 15 million pounds.
So, what we spoke about Wolves last week, but now Wrexham have apparently come to the fore. Now Wrexham are in negotiations for a guy whose name is completely, or we're apparently in negotiations for a guy who's completely slipped my mind, for like 19 million quid or something stupid like that. But they've then said that the rumours are now that if they fail with that, they potentially want to come and spend £15 million on Ab Armstrong. Cool. I'll drop them off.
Yeah. 15
Done.
million quid? Yeah, all right, yeah. If you offered us 1.5 million, I'd probably take it. I'll be honest. 15 million quid, go for it. Adozzi's got some interest from European sides, no real surprise there. No other links to incomings at the moment. There was some chat about that striker from Leeds, was it?
Oh, Joel Perry. Yeah, but again, that one's... There's like 5 names. There's 5 teams that have been mentioned. Apparently, you'd like to think that typically with January transfer window, it's going to hot up. We've still got names. I see chat talking away about people like Joe Rebo. Obviously, there's nothing going on about that. I've just seen Martin's comment to Rizzo as the all-you-can-eat buffet. If I had a choice, mate, I'd be next to him.
I do like an all-you-can-eat buffet.
I love a buffet.
I know you do, yeah.
Love a buffet. I mean, that doesn't go well about me having a go at you calling us fat boys last week. It's got to hot up. They've got to start doing something. Otherwise, we're just going to... The season is just going to... You're right. We're going to look after our shoulder, look over our shoulders, and the season is just going to fizzle out.
If you sell Armour for 15 million quid, which someone said laugh all the way to the bank, 100% agree with you, but you have to have a replacement in there. You have to have someone ready to come in and be that player. He should have a lot more goals than he has now, Armstrong, quite honestly, and he hasn't.
I mean, he is still Championship top goal scorer.
Yeah.
But he should have a lot more.
But he should have a lot more, is my point, right? He should be well ahead of that, and he's not. So I'm concerned.
I like the shout that Josh is putting out, and I know he scored for Notts Forest today, but Tywin Amwini from Forest has been on the bench. I'd bite your hand off for him.
I don't know. It concerns me that we've heard nothing, but who knows? Maybe Spores is pulling off a masterclass. I just don't, don't get Don Bollard back. Please don't, Paul. Please don't. The way that he's playing, how can Wrexham get it right, but we can't? Because 6th of line, because their owners invest money carefully. They spent a lot of money, their owners, and they've invested it quite carefully.
They went and got seasoned pros rather than going on stats, which is what we keep hearing the club going on.
Yeah, Hey. Also, what's his name? Damien Downs started up front for Hamburg.
Played like 63 minutes and had no shots.
0 shots on goal. 63 minutes.
He's not had a shot since he's been there.
No! Let's go in some for a striker. So, anyway, wider Championship football before we get into the preview for Stoke. You got big wins for Borough and Millwall. Bristol City, Hull, Sheffield United all win.
Yeah.
This is today, or this weekend even. Wrexham with an amazing last-minute comeback.
So they were at QPR, and I can see Gartsy's in the chat somewhere, so I'm sure he's going to be another fanboy in a minute again and start going nuts about it. 93rd minute, they were 2-1 down. 94th minute, they're 3-2 up. Having said that, anyone who's seeing those highlights, and I'm assuming people have done it and watched them, keeper's at fault for pretty much every goal.
Talking about comeback, did you see the Liverpool-Bournemouth game?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
And I know there's going to be some people that watch it and go, but aren't Bournemouth your rivals? No, they're not. Fair play to them. Good win for Bournemouth.
Yeah. 92nd minute winner, 93rd minute winner?
No, 96th.
96th, was it?
Literally the last kick of the game.
I was watching it. I didn't remember what the number was. I just remember it was at the end of the game.
I said a rude word. My wife was like, don't say that.
Oxford won at Leicester. Cifuentes was sacked.
Marquis Cifuentes has been sacked, as Martin mentioned a minute ago. Ralph has been linked with the Leicester job. Leicester are not happy with the club that are being sat 14th. They're not happy, so they sacked him.
Which I think is reasonable. We shouldn't be happy with him 15th.
The only reason...
What they'll do is they'll put... If you think about the position we were in when Tonda took over, he has improved the club's position. Has he not?
No, he has. And I think the reason that he's getting a little bit more of a stay of execution at the moment is because, again, of that situation. If Tonda would have been in charge at the start of the season and we were 15th, they would have been in by now already. We've got Leicester twice in a week. Week after next. That'll be fun.
Bournemouth hate us. Oh, the youth. I don't like the youth from Bournemouth, do they? All pensioners on the beach. Anyway.
No one cares.
If you guys have got comments about today's Pompey game or whatever, stick them on Super Chats or put them in chat now because we're closing on the end of the show. We've kind of... I feel like it's... normally when we're reviewing 2 games and a bit of transfer news, it's an hour and 15-minute show. But I don't know what we talk about because both games were just a bit meh.
I think it was a scrappy derby game, but I think you're right. I think the game was just a bit meh. It kind of...
Matty says it himself, and I agree with him. There isn't any passion or fight. And that's, there was a little bit of passion today, a little bit of fight. But like I say, the amount of 50-50 challenges we go into and we don't come away with the ball is embarrassing. The amount of aerial duels that we go into and we don't come away with the ball is embarrassing. The amount of times the ball just kind of gets bounced around like some pinball machine because people can't bring the ball down and get a foot on it, and it ends up in opposition possession. It's embarrassing. The amount of times the players just oofing it out the way now. Yeah, all right, I don't want to play the ticky-tacky 500 touches football where you play out from the back every time. I don't want to play that. But I also just want to aimlessly kick it. Oh, they've got it back again. We ended the game with less possession than the Skates. I think it was 48 to 52% possession. Fine, okay, that happens. When you're away from home, that happens. And I think that Tonda does prefer to play transition football and counter-attacking football. But they aren't good. They aren't good. We should be dominating that.
I think there's some positives that have come from this last week. And if we do the week as a whole, the back four, I think we look a hell of a lot more settled.
I personally am definitely a Wellington over Manning man for the most part. I liked Bree today. I like Yilla as well. And I think Stevens and Taylor could create a partnership. I'm not sold on Jack Stevens still, I'll be honest. I think he had a good game today for the most part. I'm not sold on him, I'll be honest. I think he's too weak. I think he's our weak point at the back. I do. And when Manning's in, if it's Manning's next to Stevens, I'd be shitting myself.
Interestingly, today, Tonda didn't make the fifth sub. And I think that in normal games, had it not have been that game, he would have taken Wellington off and brought Manning on.
Yeah, well, Manning stood next to Stevens in the back four terrifies me, I'll be honest. I think that just becomes incredibly weak.
No, I agree.
But hey. So next week, oh, look at that. Ryan jumps in and throws 5 Saints Network members at us.
Absolute legend. Guys, if you've received memberships, thank Ryan and get yourself into the Discord.
Is that a reason for you to do the intro next week?
No.
Okay,
No.
How many more?
10.
10 more members and you'll do the intro next week.
I'll do the intro next week. Don't do that. I don't do that.
Oh, chat, the gauntlet's down. Next week, you've mentioned it already, another lunchtime kickoff. I think it's 12:30, isn't it? 12:30 kickoff on Saturday?
It's 12:30 kickoff. It is at the, I don't know what it's called now, but it was called the Britannia Stadium.
So we're away at Stoke, just up the road, really, in the grand scheme. It's not that far away, is it?
It's not that far away, no. It's not that far away.
What are you thinking? How are Stoke doing right now?
Stoke are 10th. A 10th? I think they're 10th. They've had a good season. They beat us down here, obviously, at the start of the season. I can't remember what it was, third game. They're 10th on 42 points. Look, Stoke going to up there is never an easy place to go anyway.
I think you say that about every stadium.
The problem is there's not any easy game. They've been on a good run of form recently. They've won a couple. They did lose at home to Middlesbrough on Wednesday. They got a 1-1 draw at Birmingham yesterday. The problem is at the moment is you made the point earlier. We've seen that you said that the 4 points this week were putting a paper over the cracks. I think that it's good. Like, we know it could do, but I can't see us going to Stoke next week and just winging it. It's either going to go really, 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 really well, or really, really, really bad.
Well, I think he has to stick with the formation because since we've stuck to that formation, we haven't lost. I know it's 2 games, but he hasn't lost. So I think he's got to stick with the formation. I think he's got to stick with 4-5-1. I think Matsky doesn't...
St. Adam says, how do you gift memberships? I have no idea.
How do you give memberships? You press the little $sign in the bottom of the chat box and you'll get membership gifting in there. You can choose how many you gift, 1, 5, 10, 20 or 50. Only do 50 though if you've got a really massive penis. That's the only reason to do 50 gifted.
I'm never doing 50 then.
Right, that's the reason to do 50 gifted memberships. If you've got a really massive dong, that's how we know. You give 50, we're like, oh, look at that. Massive dong.
Anyway, sorry, you were saying.
Just like Onuachu, right?
Who scored an absolute cracking goal the other day and celebrated with a backflip.
So I think he's got to stick with a 4-5-1. I think his lineup will be telling. I actually think there's an argument to keep Bree in over Yella. I don't like it. I think Matsky doesn't make the cut. I'd actually argue. I mean, the thing is, what frustrates me is up until today, I would have told you Flynn Down's out, Shay Charles in. But Flynn actually had a good game today, I think.
I think he stepped up to the plate. So I actually think Casper Yander, I think the occasion got to him today.
Yeah.
I think he looked quite weak. And I think that it's a tough one because that's the game, 100%, that you want to throw in. I've seen it and I'm working with him tomorrow, so you're going to get slapped. You want to see the game. That's the game that Oriol Romeo should have been in.
Yeah.
And should have been leading from the front.
If he can play more than 3 minutes. Thank you so much, Matthew Hedeker, for 5 gifted memberships. Look at you. Look at you legend. Up to 10. 5 more to go, and Ash is doing the intro next week. And he's never done the intro before, but he has told me that he's been at home practicing it in the mirror.
You're not supposed to tell people that.
But you did say that to me last week.
And also, 92 people in the chat, only 42 likes. Hit the like button, people.
So what do you think then? Stoke win, draw, lose?
Can I give a head and a heart?
Of course, absolutely.
My
I want
head,
the same from you, chat. Head and heart, win, draw, lose.
Yes. My head says loss because Stoke are where they are and we're awful. My heart says that we'll come away with a point.
Okay.
If I'm Stoke, I take the game to Southampton next week, and I'm just hoping that some of the teams are going to do that, and we're going to be able to exploit it.
I think we lose to Stoke. I believe we can win.
Oh, I think we can win any game, but Stoke have got they've got a big side, and yet again they're a side at the moment. They're not massively troubled by injuries, but they've got injuries, and so it's a bit of an issue. And I just think that realistically, when we look at from where we are right now, like I said, is today going to be a turning point, or is it just papering over the cracks?
Papering. It's not a turning point.
Are we going to go to Stoke next week and progress up and put Ross Stewart up start front and carry on playing? Try and carry on playing the way we're going to play. Get Leo on the ball more, etc., etc. If Leo's even fit, or are we going to go up there and just not keep hold of the ball? Have we put all our effort into a 1-1 draw?
I think we have papered over the cracks. I don't think it is a turning point. I think maybe if we'd have turned them over 3-0 today, that might be a turning point because everybody's morale goes through the ceiling. If we'd have got absolutely battered, it could be a negative turning point for us because everyone goes real down in the dumps. Coming away from a point is a result. And I said it to, I can't remember who was asking me today, but one of the problems we have is, and I say it's a problem, it's modern football, is how many of that starting 11 were Saints people, Southampton born and bred lads, academy players?
None
of them, right? None of them at all. So the passion just kind of doesn't really exist. So they come away from that derby game, and for the most part, right, they don't care. Chat. I'll be honest, they don't. And you see them at the end, they're all shaking each other's hands and giving each other hugs. And I don't think they should be scrapping, don't get me wrong, but they don't fucking care because ultimately, cool, I've got my 40 grand for this week, off I go. That's the reality of it.
There is one thing that I will say which we haven't mentioned. Well, a couple of things actually. Firstly, the support of the ground today, phenomenal.
Absolutely,
phenomenal.
yeah,
absolutely phenomenal.
Of course, it was going to be.
And secondly, when Leo scored that goal, I think most Saints fans will be able to pretty much agree that they want the care in the world. Didn't matter what we did for the rest of it. As long as we, if we won that game, we'd all be sat here, great big smiles on our face, not really give a shit what happens for the rest of the season because we've beaten that lot from down the road. But now I'm massively concerned. The subs today weren't impactful. Tom Fellow did come on, didn't really do much. Ross Stewart came on, was awful. Jay Robinson came on, forgot he was even on the pitch. Shay Charles was obviously okay, and then we didn't use the fifth substitution.
Shay Charles looks like a different class, honestly.
Whereas Pompey made some subs, and when they brought players on, they brought on Swanson and they brought on Marlon Pack, and they just seem to have a bit more bite about them than what I wanted. And yeah, do you know what? I know it's at Fratton Park and it's a bit different, and it's a horrible atmosphere. We for a degree, and people are going to shout at me say we'd love to have that atmosphere at St Mary's. We don't have that atmosphere to the same level. But
I think it's an old stadium throwback, though, isn't it? When the fans are on top of the players,
it is, and that's the point. But I just don't understand. We made these substitutions and we still looked a bit shit. And Tonda's got to get through this point where he makes a difference in being able to make the team better by bringing those subs on. Against Sheffield United, the substitutions that he's made helped the team get through the clean sheet, made things better, etc., etc., etc. But now he needs to be in a position where he's able to grab them by the scruff of the neck. And if they don't want to move forward with that, then they're not going to do it well.
Yeah. I think that the transfer window is telling. I think the transfer window at the moment, for me, personally, shows us that as a club, we've kind of given up on the season. I think it does. I think if we were like, we can push. I think at that point, I think we're making signings with lots of links to other players, right? Does that make sense? I think all right, we'll use the window. We'll get rid of, we'll fuck off Fraser. We'll get rid of Adozie probably. Who knows what's happened to Uribe? Maybe after the window they'll just take him out back and shoot him. Do you know what I mean? I get rid of those players. I think they're going get rid of the deadwoods because we said to you, we said at the start of the season, and we said it last season. We need to clear out loads and loads and loads of deadwood. Right? We need to get rid of loads of stuff. We need to get rid of loads of players. it was never going to happen in a single transfer window. It just can't.
No,
It
it's
won't.
not. But ultimately, and there is a position, there's going to be a club out there that does something absolutely stupid, and they go and get a player in over the line on transfer window, and then suddenly they make a rush to the playoffs. I'm not saying it's going to be us. It potentially could happen. It's not going to be us, but there will be a team.
Yeah.
Potentially Leicester. Leicester have changed their manager now. Are they going to get manager bounce and jump?
Yeah. Well, by the way, I just want to address something in chat. We're an adult show. We're at 8 o'clock at night, and the YouTube label that we use on our content says "not for kids." So when you say "how am I being rude," the people swearing constantly in front of the kids are the ones being rude. The content is marked "not for kids," you silly cunt. So fuck off. Simple as that. Anyway, I have to address that because it irritates me. The content is specifically marked "not for kids." It's an adult show. We originally weren't that way. We changed
because we've been shit.
People have told us we prefer it when it's raw and it's real and it's like you're chatting to the lads in the pub. That's how it is. If you don't like it, if you're worried about the swearing, don't tell me how to run my show. Go and watch a different one. It's as simple as that. Right. Anyway, that's that done. It's as simple as that. Yeah. I run a it's not a flex chat. It's not a flex. I run a significantly bigger channel than this with a lot more people that watch on a weekly basis, and I just don't deal with dickheads. It's as simple as that.
Just me.
When one individual in the chat out of 100 people goes, "Make it for me," no, go away.
It's like taking your kids to the cinema to watch an 18.
Yeah. Oh, I can't believe all that swearing in Grand Theft Auto that I gave to my 12-year-old. Right, okay. So, anyway, there's literally underage viewers in the chat do something about policing your policy. It says not for kids. Honestly, are you retarded? Do you have to use speak to text on your phone? Right, whatever. I'll just, to be honest with you, mate, I'll just ban you. I'm not in the mood today. I'll just get rid of you. So, that's that one done. And if you read the rest of chat, you'll realise that most of them actually appreciate what I've just said. So perhaps you're the one in the wrong. Just saying, if there's 92 people that agree with us, maybe you're the one in the wrong. Anyway, it's not my job to look after your children. Let me put it that way. Bit of a rant.
Anyway,
it's not my job to look after your kids.
Super chats and memberships, Liam.
Yeah, super chats and memberships.
Oh, he's going to report the channel, apparently.
Go for it, mate. Crack on. I've been doing YouTube for 8 fucking years. It won't do anything. Crack on. I've been reported many times as well. I also have a YouTube partnership. So you go for it. You do that. Anyway, I'm not looking forward to Stoke, I'll be honest. I think that it's probably not going to go well. Hang on a minute. Wait one. There we go. Everyone get ready to cheer. You ready? It's the first time we've done this on actually. First time we've done this on the channel.
No, it's not. It's you did one earlier.
No, I just timed him out earlier.
Oh, okay.
This is how bad it is, right? This is how much of a bellend you are. I timed a skate out. I've banned you.
Hey!
There we go. Everyone in chat can cheer. Brilliant. Right. Booted. Done.
Martin got some grief on his live stream today because he swore.
Did he?
During the game. He swore and he got some grief.
Fuck off.
What is wrong with people, honestly? Take him to a football stadium. I literally was at a game a few weeks ago when someone made a complaint to a steward because there was a song that had a swear word in it.
Do you know? Yeah, right. Do you know where I wouldn't? Do you know I wouldn't swear if I was making my content for YouTube Kids, which is what your kids should be watching.
But he can't watch us say that now, can he? Because he's been
no,
banned.
he's been banned. You won't see anything ever again. He also can't report us because he's been banned. LOL. Yes, then thank you for the one gifted membership. You're a hero. There's a super chat to talk about as well. Actually,
and there's also another member. Someone else has signed up as a member.
Yes.
I'm going to let you announce it because I'll get it wrong.
Let me get my fan funding section up. Chat filter, fan funding. So thank you. So I'll just go for all of it right now, right? So Dreadful Mayhem became a member at the start of the show. Thank you so much, you're a hero. Ryan and Matty both gifted 5 each, or heroes. Lucas then became a member himself. Thank you so much, mate, you're a hero. And Yestin has gifted another membership. Mark also came in with a $5 super chat. It says, play Yanda, Charles and Downs in the midfield at the same time on the 4-3-3. Yeah, you could. Fellows, Cienza, and a striker up front.
It worked well towards the end of the game against Sheffield United. I think it also potentially gave us a bit more today. The only thing is today is I just don't think Yanda was on his game.
Yeah. What am I cheering about? We banned the bell end. That's a new show feature.
So we do it every week now.
Yeah, in 100 weeks' time, we've got no live viewers. Everyone's banned.
Next one will be you.
Famously, with what Football Martin said earlier, which is that beautiful Sean Dyche meme of utter woke nonsense.
Pure
8 p.m. on a Sunday, an adult show that's marked not for kids, and you're whinging because of some swear words. And I wouldn't mind, but it's not been that bad compared to previous weeks. I only ramped it up 10 levels because he was being a dick.
Do we think he was a skate?
I don't know.
Did he give those vibes?
I don't know. Because if he's a skate and his kids go to schools in Portsmouth, they've definitely heard worse. My gifted went to me. Brilliant. Okay.
Don't forget, guys, if you have been gifted a membership, I keep saying it, get yourself in Discord.
Yeah.
It is worth it, trust me. Just free to download, click the link below, get in there, help hit the like button, do all that sort of stuff. It all helps us. We really appreciate a lot of it.
I also, the other thing as well is, right, I also don't mind the feedback from people when it's like constructive, decent feedback.
Yes.
But when it's like, do better, fuck off, bellend.
We did have some feedback about 6-7 weeks ago where someone said they didn't like the fact that we were swearing, and then everyone else came in and said, actually, like you said, we prefer that it's passionate and it's raw and it's better than going on some other streams where there is no. And do you know what? We're not going to change because we like doing what we do.
Well, there's a balance act, isn't it? And this is the thing. We have to realise with YouTube in general, and it's a rule of life actually, but in YouTube in general, you have to realise this particular fact, and that is that you can please some of the people some of the time, but you can't please all of the people all of the time. And if you try and please all of the people all of the time, you will fail. It's as simple as that. If I listened to every single comment that came through on any of the channels that I have, and I made a change based on that comment, I'm constantly chasing then. It's just, it doesn't work. So if we have 100 people watching and 97 people say like the raw language, like it being passionate and like you feel like you're part of the lads at the pub having a chat about the football, and 3 people say we don't like it, I'm sorry 3 people, you're outvoted. It's just, that's how it works. And the feedback we've got since we've got a bit raw is really positive and people really like it. In fact, there's a lot of people that have come to us and said, we now watch your show instead of other shows because it is raw and it is passionate and it's real. And if you don't like it, and you want to give us some constructive, hey, we're from Hythe. If you want to give us some constructive feedback, go for it. Absolutely crack on. Stick it in the chat, especially in the comment section afterwards. If it's polite and it's constructive, go for it. But if it's just like the thing that got me, the thing that triggered me the most, and how my collar started rising was when he said, "Do better." Go squat on a fucking pineapple. Right. I'm done. We're good.
I think Liam's just had a rant, chat. I'm not going to lie. I think he's just had a rant.
I'm happy. It's adults speaking honestly and frankly on an adult stream. Stuck up knob. Exactly, Garsty. 100%. Right. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. Hope you've enjoyed the show. Thank you so much to everybody who supported us. We only got 12 members and Ash wanted 15 to do the intro.
What a shame.
So we'll be back next week, obviously, post Stoke game at 8 p.m. on Sunday, because we always do 8 p.m. on Sunday. TSP. We'll be back next week at 8 p.m. on Sunday to review the Stoke game, hopefully positively, but we'll see. And I think that's everything for now. Is that everything for now?
Yeah. Apart from the fact that we got to remember that even though we're above them in the league, we're not better than the Skates. Remember that?
No, yeah. Oh, yeah, we've had 2
league
Bellends
position
today.
Doesn't matter.
Where's Jimmy Cheese? The one time our moderator's not here, I'll make Martin a fucking moderator in future. He can also ban people for us. Although what he might do is he might go, oh, their competition, I'll just ban all their fans. Where is he? He deserves a spanner because he is also a person who does YouTube, so he knows how it works. There you go. Have a blue name. Right. I think we're good.
Yeah, I think so.
He can still give us an up the Saints. He absolutely can. Ian, of course he can. Like I said, the week in the whole, the game's been a bit dull, not very inspiring. We got 4 points, we expected 0. I think that's a positive end to a week. Stoke away.
Yes.
You're even thinking about going.
I need to sort out something with one of my children, but yes, I am thinking about going.
I'd like to look after her, but I don't want to. So
that's your niece.
Yeah, I've got a busy day on Saturday. So thank you so much for watching, wonderful people. Ash, anything for the chat before we go?
Football Martin, we love you too. Up the Saints.
Up the Saints. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.